Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to today's session. Time is now 5 o'clock here in England and 9:30 in India, 10 o'clock in Bangladesh. Thank you very much for supporting this wonderful initiative and inspiring us to do more and connect more world-class performers all around the globe and from all different cultures. Many thanks for your beautiful compliment. As you know, we are trying to present, promote, showcase diverse art forms of the globe almost every single day. And many thanks for staying tuned. Many thanks for joining us. Many thanks to those who share our live streaming and letting others have the opportunity to be the part of this wonderful session of music, dance, poetry, and other beautiful art forms of the globe. So ladies and gentlemen, those who have already joined, an honest request, please do share this stream, live stream, for your friends. If you find it good for yourself while you are staying at home, it is good for your friends too. So please help us connecting as many audiences as possible through your support. Let me introduce our panel members now. As you know, we have a regular panel member and quite part and parcel of this series, a political activist, a social justice campaigner, and a MP shortlisted member of parliament candidate from Labour Party, Jasmine Chaudhry. Many thanks, Jasmine, for joining as part of the series, and warm welcome to today's session.
Thank you very much, Kaisarvai. Good evening, everybody. Really looking forward to this evening's session, which promises to be, again, a very unique and a groundbreaking session. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
And we have another regular panel member, part and parcel of the series, a spoken word artist and a concert organizer, Shahid Mitul. Thank you, Shahid Mitul, and warm welcome to today's session.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Ameera, Rafael, and Eric. Looking forward to your performances this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. So this session is streaming live from Saudha, Ghazal Tumri and Kheyal Festival, and it is perhaps by now available in Saudha's profile. So please do share from there, and please come and leave your suggestion, leave your feedback, as you always do. So let me introduce other, as you know, this session features two wonderful artists. One is a prominent guitarist, flamenco guitarist, Rafael. Many thanks, Rafael, for joining as part of the series, and warm welcome.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, as you say in Spanish, which means good afternoon or good evening or good morning, wherever you are in the world, in fact. And it's a pleasure to be here. So looking forward to it.
This session also features another wonderful Kathak dancer who is doing phenomenal productions, phenomenal jobs. Ameera Patanka, who joined us from Pune in India. Many, many thanks, Ameera, for joining as part of the series, and a warm welcome to today's session.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here amongst all of you. And I really look forward to what's going to happen. It's very, very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, we have a regular, almost regular, and a firm supporter of Saudha's activities, a Schubert vocalist, a troubadour singer, a poet, and a musician as well. Eric Shilander, many, many thanks, Eric, for joining. We will have, like you know, those who follow Saudha's activities, we try to develop different communication, different way of merging different art forms. So as part of this series, you will see poetry in dance and dance in poetry. So dance will be interpreted, dance bows, dance style will be interpreted, will interpret the power of words. And today we are also, I mean, today's, as part of today's session, two phenomenal, groundbreaking, ancient poets of the world. One is one is deemed as the first poet of the world, actually, first woman poet of the world, Anna Haduna. And then Euripides, as you know, a Greek poet and philosopher. So two wonderful poets, verses will be interpreted through Kathak dance. And Eric Shilander will do the recitation at the end of the session, actually, when we'll be approaching to the end. Many, many thanks, Eric, for joining, and welcome to today's session.
Thank you very much, Kesha. It is always exciting to hear everybody else. It's also, there were many Saudha performances when we were on stage where I'd work with dancers and have a rehearsal, and it's been very exciting and also wonderful to work. I'm looking forward to the performance with Ameera enormously. I saw her videos on YouTube and was just knocked out by them. So it will really be an improvisation between the two of us. So I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Just 2 seconds. I'm just trying to copy and paste something, if that's okay. Rafael, just something for Rafael. Right. Okay, so that is, I just sent this to Rafael and Ameera. That's available in your WhatsApp. If you kindly share this, copy and paste this to your Facebook. So that is available. Like I said, the live streaming is available from Saudha Ghazal and Tumri and Kheyal Festival. It is available at Saudha's profile. It's available in my profile as well. And Rafael, did you find this okay? Ameera, did you find this okay? I just copied and pasted to your WhatsApp. If you kindly copy and paste this to your page and Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Have you found it okay, Ameera?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, great. Okay. Just a second. Yeah, I've just lost all sound. You are okay, Rafael. We can hear you, but only thing, if you kindly unmute yourself, because if you unmute yourself, we can hear you right from there. If you kindly unmute. Oh, you can't hear. So best if you rejoin. Yes. So many thanks. Hope sound is okay. And the session is going live from there. So I'm just waiting for Rafael to join. And then Let's put the. So as you know, this session is featuring two wonderful artists. One is Rafael, a prominent flamenco guitarist, and Ameera Patanka, an acclaimed Kathak dancer, and she's also an actor too. So she worked in Magdut for her perhaps beautiful acting skill, Abhinaya, which is also a part and parcel, essential element for dancing, especially Kathak dance. So, so Rafael, can you hear us okay now?
Yes, sorry, I had a technical issue. I don't know what happened, but you sounded like you were a Dalek, if anyone knows what that means. But it sounded like an electronic beast from outer space. I don't know, but I can hear you now, which is good.
No, that's fantastic. Did you manage to? Did you find the link? Okay, live streaming. If you kindly share this to your page, because we want.
I shall do that now. I was about to do it, but then everything went crazy. But I shall do that right now.
So if you kindly do it now while I'm giving an introduction. So Rafael, we'll start with Rafael now. So Rafael is a performer with over 30 years experience as a concert musician, composer, and a teacher. This is a huge pleasure to have a wonderful artist like Rafael as part of the series. Rafael is a versatile session musician and has enhanced many projects. Rafael is a performer with over 30 years experience, like I mentioned. Previous collaborations include rock music, ballet, corporate events, recorded with Grace Jones on Flores track together with producer Ivor Guest. He has recorded with Ed O'Brien in personal sessions at Radiohead's private studios. He featured and was interviewed in a press conference with Tamara Rojo, principal dancer of the Royal Ballet and the director of the English National Ballet. He has also been credited with thanks on the Radiohead album In Rainbows. He has also had several personal theses, credits of doctorates at Oxford University. A few examples of Rafael's work appear in the best-selling guitar book by the Richard Chapman, published by Dorling Kingsley, and the New Complete Guitarist. Rafael was the inspiration for the book Dune Day by Jason Webster, who dedicated his acclaimed bestseller to Rafael for Rafa, and the denoued moments with him that inspired me. Rafael continues to inspire students of all ages to learn flamenco guitar. Rafael has taught at many schools and universities, including the Faculty of Music, Oxford University, Trinity College, London, Birmingham, Bath International Guitar Festival. So many thanks, Rafael, for joining as part of this session. It's a huge pleasure, like I mentioned before, to have an artist like you as part of the series. So you found okay now? Have you managed to?
Yeah, so far my sound seems to be good. So I'm here and I can hear and I'm well.
Okay, let's start with your journey of flamenco. If you kindly tell us a bit more, because you seemingly an ambassador of flamenco guitar to the rest of the world as well. So if you kindly tell us a bit more and a bit of performance.
That's a nice way of putting it. In a way, I suppose I would like to think that, but and it's a nice thing to be. If anything, an ambassador of any culture is a lovely thing to be. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of you, even to start off with, you think of flamenco and you think, of course, Spain. You don't think of someone who speaks English with a very English accent. So maybe that's the first thing I should address. Really, is I grew up in Spain. In fact, in Madrid, in the capital, and my mother's from Córdoba, which is in the deep south of Andalusia, of Spain. But actually, I was born, strangely, in Oxford, just by coincidence. My father was working there. And but really, it's an interesting, you say, my father is British, by the way. So I went to, and also, even though I grew up in Spain, I went to a very British, or a very English-British school. So that's why I continue to speak English during the day, and of course the rest of the day I used to speak Spanish. So that clears up why I sound so English. But anyways, the thing is about it is, of course, traveling, being bicultural, if you like, Spanish and British. What used to happen, of course, my earliest memories of flamenco really is when I was 3-4 years old, perhaps, and just having a sound and going to what we call, it used to be called in Cordoba, it used to be a swimming pool called El Fontanar. If anyone knows, if anyone's of my age in Cordoba, they will remember. But and so my earliest memories of flamenco really is going to the swimming pool with my grandparents and walking around the streets of Cordoba, listening to the sounds of flamenco. And of course, we're talking very late, very late, more early 70s, really. No internet, no videos, no nothing, of course. So the only way of discovering this music was by going there, and that was exciting in itself, in fact. But so really, my first memories are not only going to visit my grandparents, but also with in fact, my mother, who we used to travel, as I said, between Spain and the UK, because my father had a house, and my parents had a house in Oxford, and we always kept that house, in fact, and we used to come back to Oxford for a month or 6 weeks every year to check the house and paint it up. But we would sing, my mother would sing on the way. She would do some what we call palmas, which literally means palms of your hand. And she would sing kind of, songs and just by accompanying herself with some rhythm, and sing some folkloric or some flamenco songs. And of course, that really kind of ingrains, in my opinion, or in my experience even, that ingrains that kind of seed, if you like, that kind of beginning of flamenco for me. And so later on, as I got a little bit older, and I think it was really sadly my mother passed away when I was a teenager, and I think really it was my mother's passing away and illness that maybe made me even more get into the culture of my mother, in fact, and so then I just dedicated all my hours. Sometimes, I'm sure you've heard this from other musicians or creatives, they spend 10, 12, 14 hours a day in your world and your music, in this sense. And so that was the beginning for me in Spain, in that sense. And of course, then I met some people and met some friends, and they're now friends, met some musicians, and I auditioned for a group in Spain, in Valencia at the time, actually, which is not the heartland of flamenco, but so I started playing with the group there, and then continued from there on, really. And of course, there's a lot of experience has happened since then. But those are the kind of the beginnings of my career, if you like, and of my interest in flamenco. So really, it's in fact it's interesting. But I don't know if any of you have been to Cordoba, but if you have, it's still there. I think it was 1961 in the main square of Cordoba, called Plaza de las Tendillas. And I remember this as a very young kid. As instead of it, there's a big church there, of course, and instead of ringing the bells as they do every every 15 minutes or half an hour and then on the hour, instead of doing that, they actually, it's the only place in the world that has a guitar playing by a man called Juan Serrano, who's still alive actually, and it just does. But it does it even higher up on the fretboard, and it's just such a beautiful sound. And I think that actually, I actually sent him a message just a while ago saying that was one of my inspirations. One of the things that actually made me want to play originally, from when I was even too young to almost remember, was that clock chiming of the guitar was just, and it still is going. It's apparently the world, well, it must be the world record. It's the only one anyway, but it's a phenomenal thing. So if you ever go to Cordoba, you must go to the main square and listen to the guitar chiming. So that's my kind of initial experiences with flamenco. But what I wanted to do today, in a sense, is I wanted to show more than do a concert. I wanted to perhaps as you were mentioning, saying being a little bit about the ambassador, perhaps, if that's possible, of flamenco guitar, is to show people and to I always like educating myself and educating others in my world and showing them what we do in our world. And today it'll be a little bit about traditional flamenco guitar. In fact, now I don't know, many people may not know, but in flamenco, in fact, the origins of flamenco come from what's called el cante, which means the chant. And so originally, people would be singing, of course, and doing their palmas de clapping, and and you start to sing a song. So you would use your feet and your hands and your voice to express yourself, of course, because that was the most natural instrument in a sense. And of course, then eventually, over the decades, over the centuries, the guitar appeared. And when it appeared as the form that we have now, then essentially what the flamenco guitar was an accompanying instrument, and that's what essentially traditionally flamenco guitar is. It's an accompanying instrument. So you'd have someone doing the clapping, someone doing the dancing and the singing, and you would be playing, accompanying along. Very simple, what seems like simple. And the singer would play, but you would kind of play just chord sequences and as I say, very not so basic, but you understand. It's not so virtuosic in a sense, compared to today anyway. But so people would do that, and of course over the time, technique improved, and now we have fabulous musicians, fabulous guitarists. Of course, the most famous one of possibly of all time was Paco de Lucia, who just revolutionized the guitar, and unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But he was the master of all masters in a sense. But today I'd like to start off by just showing you a few rhythms and a few styles, what we call palo. Palo literally means stick or stick. And as I said, everything comes from the cante, from the singing. And I'd like to start off by showing you a kind of traditional bit of improvised rhythm. It's not for the people who like soft melodies. It's more for the people who like full-on rhythm. But it comes from Jerez, and Jerez, of course, an amazing place in southern Andalusia, where Jerez, the drink, comes from. And but it's also one of what we call the cuna del flamenco, which means the cradle of flamenco. And the beat is it's 12 beats. So we have accentuations on 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12, which is a very kind of sounds very easy and very basic. But when you start doing this. Then you have to find out where those 12 beats are. Now, so it seems simple at the beginning, but the interesting thing I always tell my students also is that for someone who's grown up, for example, in the Western world of listening to pop music and rock music or whatever, I say to them, well, if you listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the rhythm kind of pop rock has, you don't have to think, oh, where's 1, where's 2, where's 3, where's 4. You know where it is. And that's the same with flamenco or any musical cultures. If you grow up with it, I don't have to think where my beats are, and it's just a basic pulse. As I say, with this bulería, you do lots of offbeats and syncopation. So it's all based on a pulse, and in fact, I remember speaking to someone, and today, not a long time ago, but today it's relevant, is that they were saying that in fact in some of the Veda scripts, I think it was, that some of the rhythms were actually similar to this, and the person I was chatting to was doing some of the rhythms from the Vedas, and a lot of them coincide with this 12 beat, because of course, many of you know anyway, is that when many people emigrated from India in was it 8th century, I think it was? I went through, some of them came, after the journey came through into Spain, and of course some of that culture has landed in the melting pot of flamenco. We've got, of course, Moorish, we've got Spanish, of course, Indian, we've got Sephardic music, we've got a whole big mixing pot of music in this thing, and of course that's where where all of the influences come from. So the idea is with the bulería, is for people to accompany us with their hand claps. And it becomes a big party. And then I'll show you just one other before I let you bring someone else.
Yeah.
But another one, for example, another style is called, because this is about the history in a sense, is the soleá, which is a very kind of deep sound. And it comes from the word soledad, which means solitude, because it sounds quite mournful. 12. It's also 12. But it has a completely different feel. And this comes from, as I say, solitude. And it comes from barrio, or well, it's now called barrio, the district of Triana, which is a part of Seville. And history says that when the Moors were kicked out of Spain in 1492 with the Catholic kings, is that basically anybody who didn't accept the Catholic kings fled, of course, and the gypsies, the Moors, and everybody fled, and many of them fled to this quarter, which is Triana, and it's again one of the founding parts of places in flamenco, which is why it's so pure and so traditional when you play the soleá. Has a nice deep sound, but I will come back to all of these things later, and I'll explain some more things for you later.
Thank you. Many thanks, Rafael. I'm just trying to, if that's okay, I'm just trying to rename Rafael. That's okay. And then if you kindly, I just send this to WhatsApp, if you kindly copy and paste to your page, because we need to get audiences from all different backgrounds. Already audiences are there. Many audiences are leaving comments, Rafael. So if you kindly share to your Facebook page, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I did it the first time. It should be on there now on my page. I did it the first time, so hopefully it'll be there.
This is right. Okay, I haven't seen it. Anyway, so let's come back to Mitul for some audience's feedback. But in the meantime, this is our pattern. After musical performance, we tend not to talk. We try to make a bridge in between with poetry. So if kindly Jasmine read some verses of poetry, if that's okay.
Sure. Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's full, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bent sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never read, nor no man ever loved.
Thank you. Many thanks, Jasmine. Before we move on to Ameera, can Mitul give us a bit of feedback from audience's comment? And many thanks, Rafael. This is becoming a very insightful talk, and I'm sure for some audiences, even like myself, this is a completely new thing, completely a new horizon to explore. Many thanks. Mitul?
Yes, Abhijit Mollik, as usual, namaskar.
A quite regular audience from Bangalore in India. Many thanks, Abhijit, for joining.
Chaya Singh Rathore, yeah, Ameera Di. Kalinath Mishra, I'm watching, beautiful. Jubair Akhtar is watching, Tanveer Mukammel is watching. Manju Singh, wah. Then Debra, greeting from New York City. Onudev, very nice. Urmila Garg. Then Debashish Bhattacharya, very informative and educative.
Exactly. Ashish Bhattacharya is a friend of us and North-based art practitioner, art promoter. Devashita, many thanks for watching and many thanks to all of our regular audiences who, I mean, sound-wise you are okay, and many thanks to audiences who are watching this from all around the globe. New York, Debraji, many thanks for watching. So again, a request, if you think this is quite interesting, it is interesting for your friends as well. So please do share in your timeline and let your friends have the opportunity to watch this rare, wonderful session, insightful talk and beautiful flamenco demonstration, performance. And then I'm moving to Ameera now. Hello, Ameera. How are you? Are you all right?
Yes, I
Great.
just unmute. So
How is Pune?
Pune is fine, rainy, beautiful, green.
Raining. Yeah, especially with the performance by the artists like you, make a geographic place more poetic, more more worth living place actually. Anyway, as you know, Ameera Patanka is an economics graduate, possesses a rare leadership quality which helped her compose dance pieces in her college days. Dance is her first love. As such, she decided to make dance as her chosen career after finishing her advanced diploma in French. Wow. Ameera started her Kathak training since she was very young under Srimati Shama Bhattaji at Nadru, Pune. She stood first in Lalit Kala Kendra, Pune University, where she completed her MA in Kathak and received the National Scholarship from the Ministry of Culture. Today, Ameera has bloomed into a dynamic danseuse, bringing both virtuosity and grace and an electric stage. She has won many prizes in different competitions over the years, performed at various festivals across India and in countries like France, Austria, South Korea, Israel, Qatar, China, etc., and is the leading dancer of the Nadru troupe in the choreographies by Srimati Shama Bhattaji. She has imbibed hardcore traditional values through her training, along with choreographic aspects like space consciousness, intelligent lights design, etc. She has worked with jazz musicians and world music under her guru's guidance and blend with different music genres. She has a choreographic spark within her that has led to some interesting works like Kevi Kalam, Our Home, Meghdut with literature, fantastic, going beyond improvisation, and many different productions. So, Ameera, seemingly you worked I mean, definitely with Kathak, but you collaborated with many different spectrum of uh, uh, arts and then developed your own unique style of performance. We will talk about this. So if you kindly, I mean, I just gave a very basic introduction. If you kindly tell us a bit more on your dance journey, but let us start with a devotional performance that you mentioned, that Vandana, Ganesh Vandana. That would be great, especially at this time. And your selection is just impeccable. So let us start with performance, and then we'll talk. Okay.
So this is an invocation to Lord Ganesh, the elephant-headed god, and we pray to him to remove all obstacles and so that he may bless us through all our endeavors. So here's praying to him.
Great. Thank you.
Just a minute. I want to just set.
नमस्ते गणपतये ॐ गं गणपतये नमः त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुः त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुः त्वं रुद्रस्त्वं अग्निः त्वं वायुः त्वं सूर्यः त्वं वायुः त्वं सूर्यः त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्वरो त्वं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्वरो त्वं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्वरो
Thank you.
Fantastic. What a beautiful start, Ameera. Many, many thanks. Many, many thanks. So let us talk about your first part of your interest. I mean, seemingly the time when people fell in love with the human being, you fell in love with the art form, which is dance. So what is the story behind?
Actually, it wasn't all that rosy as you know it sounds right now. But I was always
If you
in love.
kindly, is it possible, Ameera, to talk
Yes.
coming a bit closer to the device? Thank you.
Is it better?
Yeah,
Is this better?
that's seemingly better. Yeah.
Great. So I have always loved dancing. Since I was a child, I've been dancing, you know, in the garden, in the hall, inside the house, outside the house, no matter what I was doing. So naturally, my parents wanted me to learn dance. And like all Indian parents, they want their child to learn some form of classical art, be it music or dance. And my mom saw that I love dancing. So that's how I started going to learn Kathak. It was all by chance. But later, as I grew up, I realized that I'm happiest when I'm dancing. And you know, for a girl who comes from a background, which you know, my family has zero art inclination. Like there is no artist in the family. Nobody, no musician, no painter, nothing, no writer, and I'm the first artist. So they're all doctors.
Same here, Ameera. Same here, Ameera.
So you know, they all really
Same
didn't
here.
understand.
Just to confess, same in here.
I think we
Like all other Indian subcontinental parents, while I was trying to explore about art, and then I was told I was wondering, wearing a what's that called, colorful spectacles in my ear, in my eyes. I don't know the reality, and this sort of things I was told.
and for a man it's even more difficult. But yeah, and unfortunately,
Yeah,
I was
please.
very good in my studies. So that was, you know, that wasn't a good thing because they felt that I was, you know, wasting my intelligence, whatever that means. So I mean, it's a great misconception that dancers are not necessarily let's say thinking or intellectual people. And I think that's extremely unfair, extremely untrue, and we don't deserve such censure. But anyway, so I mean, my father was very supportive from the beginning. My mother was a little worried, and since I was always dancing in my college days, and I was the cultural secretary, and I used to love taking charge, setting choreographies, getting people together, and all of that. And then suddenly, when the choice came that after my graduation, now what to do? My grandfather and my family thought that I'm going to be a civil servant in the Indian civil service, or in the diplomatic services. And then I dropped the bomb that sorry, it's going to be dance. And they were all no, no, no. And I said, please give me one chance, because dance is something, it's your body is your instrument. I can't go back to dance after 10 years of doing something else and realizing I'm not a happy person. But if I do dance and I'm not happy, when I turn 30 or 40, I can anyways change my profession, go back to, French or whatever I want. But this, you can't take this from me right now, because I need to do this right now. And my father trusted me. And that's how I started. I did my master's, and I was always learning with my guru, Srimati Shama Bhate. And she's I think that is the most blessed thing that has happened to me, that I'm with a guru who is, let's say, a modernist in a way. And she's almost 70 now. So you might feel that she's old school, but she's absolutely not. And that's the beauty about working with her, because of learning under her, right from when in 99, when I was only 11 years old. My Guruji experimented with jazz music, Austrian jazz musicians. And so since I was 11, I've been watching experimentation with pure traditional Kathak. And then, in 2005, she did a ballet on an underwater marine documentary by by the French, which won Golden Palm at Cannes. So then, so my learning along with the hardcore traditional Kathak has been an interaction with the other art forms, an interaction with other art media, be it painting, photographs, film, cinema, or music, different types of world music. So I would say that I'm extremely lucky in that sense. I got, along with the hardcore traditional, a beautiful overview of how to blend your art, of how to apply the aesthetics of your art to different art forms, to different productions, to different creations. So that is why I think um, at an early stage, I find myself, let's say, more comfortable to work with or to handle different types of literature, or maybe poetry. And I think that's what gives you the edge of trying to work with. Like, I recently did 2 ghazals, and although ghazals were a part of Kathak, they're not so anymore. But I really enjoyed. So it opens a new aspect of language for you. So I think and then since after I came back, after I started doing my masters, I was completely dedicated to not just Kathak, but to the institute, the Nadroop, where I've learned, where I teach, where I perform, which is my home almost, and which I hope to take forward and make it
Great.
one of the biggest.
Great. Quite fortunately, Ameera, you chose dance as your career. Otherwise, perhaps you would come as a deputy director of Nehru Center here. We would still would contact you, because obviously as a diplomatic, I mean, as part of diplomatic wing of Indian High Commission, you would perhaps come here. We would still write to you with some proposals. But because you chose this beautiful art form as a career, you are the one who is ambassadoring this beautiful, powerful tradition to the rest of the world. And also you are bringing the best of the rest of the world to Indian subcontinental culture. Today, we will witness great ancient poet and great philosopher Euripides, Greek philosopher Euripides, and a world's first poet, Anne Hadida's powerful verse getting depicted through your style, your vows, your mudras, uh, thanks God that you decided to be a dancer, Kathak dancer, and also not just a traditional dancer, being open. And like you said, because you learned from Srimati Shama Bhattiji, who is modernist as well. So who has a modern view in terms of merging, believing in collaboration, believing in merging, believing in amalgamation. So many thanks, Ameera. I will go back to Rafael, unless Eric would like to add something on it. And please also, Ameera, one of our panel member is a political activist, as you know. Perhaps she would like to, she's interested in whenever she listens things. She's a very good art and music connoisseur, but how the idea of feminism getting transported or getting interpreted through a woman's work. So perhaps this is something for you to think on. We'll come back to you. Let us have Eric's. Eric would like to add anything after this beautiful Ganesh Vandana?
Just that it was beautiful to watch, and the first time I've seen you dancing live, as it were. So it's obviously the technique is extraordinary, but the quality that you have between the amazing lyricism and control, and then certain really wild feelings that come out that actually made me think of elements of gypsy dance and song, and maybe another time, the three of us could have done translations of some poems of Kheyal Lorca, and I think you could dance them, and Rafael would be wonderful. But another time.
Great. Let us. I mean, that's how the new production should come into this world. Should be given birth. This. So let us perhaps we can think on this wonderful production, wonderful ideas. But Bitul, would you like to tell us a bit more from audience's feedback?
Yep, sure. Anupam Lohani, namaskaram to all gurus. Rekha and
Lohani ji, many thanks. He's quite regular audience of Saudha. Many thanks for watching.
Rekha Nadgoda, Ameera Love, Arpita Shirodkar, Ameera Thai, Shraddha Mukherjee, beautiful. Urmila Garg, beautiful. Prandya Bhute, very nice. Kishori Akshi, wonderful. Then Saroj Bharate, wonderful. Urmila Garg, true. Lucky to have Shama Tai as a guru. So I guess this is one of Ameera's students, and to have your guidance always in Nadrub.
Thank you very much for this wonderful, inspiring feedback. So please do share this live streaming. Jasmine, would like to add anything before I move on to Rafael?
It's always good to see Ameera women breaking through new grounds, going against the odds, if you like, or the stereotypes, and for you to have not gone against the whole expectations, if you like, but to set. I'm sure your story will inspire your students, lots of women and young girls. So yeah, it's just great to see and hear about your background, and Rafael, really enjoying your journey and the explanation behind the flamenco. Yeah, it's a new.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Jasmine. So let us carry on with Rafael's very insightful and educational talk on the journey of flamenco guitar. Flamenco.
Yeah, thank you, Jasmine. Yes, and thank you, Ameera, too. It's a beautiful dance. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a few sounds, more sounds. Really, it's today is, I think, for me, is about hearing different moods and different things. And so, for example, typical palo style, as we say, is really from the southeast of Andalusia. It's a mining chant. And not many people really know. I'm talking traditionally. I mean, really, as Ameera, in fact, I play much more modern as well styles of flamenco. But today I wanted to show a little bit more of the tradition, just to see where the roots come from. But really, this is a cante de las minas, a chant of the mines, where people used to pick even before the guitar, as I said before. And then, of course, the guitar appeared, and we had this kind of nice, kind of Moorish sound. So it's a bit like this. So you hear a very kind of sorrowful, mournful kind of. It's quite. I think when I play it, you set a mood almost. Even if you don't want to, the music takes you takes you there with the mood of the taranta. It's one of my favorites. But really, in flamenco, carrying on this geographical almost. Journey that we could do today. If we were in southeast of Andalusia, we can carry on down the coast, in fact, whichever way it is we're looking on, and we go towards Huelva, which is the other side going towards Portugal. And there are so many different styles that I love, and this is a dance form actually, and this is a dance form where Kathak would work really well in a sense, because you have a kind of it's very much a dance form, and as I said before, some forms or some styles in flamenco are very much for the singing accompanying, some for the solo guitar, but really a lot of it's for the dance, and so it's kind of three rhythm. And of course the singer would usually do what we call a copla. And that's where the interaction between the singer and the dancer becomes essential. Of course, the guitar too. But we're in the background. We're like almost the drummers of the rock world. We're in the background, even though we're important too. But the dancers and the singers, that's where the interaction with a lot of these styles of flamenco comes alive. In fact, but also one of the interesting and one of my favorite styles really is something called a siguirilla, and it's again. Quite important. It's one of the mother chants, and the mood is phenomenal. Now, the way that flamenco works is that you have normally a guitarist, a singer, and a dancer. And for example, if you are accompanying a singer, it will be quite slow. And the singer would. I'm not a singer, so you have to forgive me. So it'll be very slow now. And then if you are a guitarist, you would continue with your melodic side, but then the dancer would come in and the whole thing speeds up. So for example, we can have a siguirilla, which is of Hindu gypsy origin, in fact, and it's a 5-beat. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it's the inverse of the other 12-beat we did before, and it's kind of. course, when the dancer starts to come in, you can't dance so slow. Well, you probably can dance so slow, but the rhythm starts to go up. Yeah. And then the whole thing, and it's like you become entranced in this thing. I wish I could have the dancer, the singer, and all of us all together, because you go into a trance, and especially the sigirilla in this particular one is one of the most deep and beautiful ones with the singing, with the cante. So those are my kind of three styles of flamenco that I wanted to tell you about just now.
So Rafael, I will perhaps come back to you soon again with some of the questions, but can we have some verses of poetry, Mitul?
Yeah, sure. Reading from Hafiz, translated by Daniel Ledzinski. The sun won a beauty contest and became a jewel set upon God's right hand. The earth agreed to be a toe ring on the beloved's foot and has never regretted its decision. The mountains got tired of sitting amongst a sleeping audience and are now stretching their arms toward the roof. The clouds gave my soul an idea, so I pawned my jewels and rose like a winged diamond, ever trying to be near more love like you. The mountain got tired of sitting amongst a snoring crowd inside of me and rose like a rip sun into my eye. My soul gave my heart a brilliant idea. So Hafiz is rising like a winged diamond.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitul. Rafael, we would like to know more about the collaborations that you did. And then also, if you kindly do a bit more performance of any piece, I'll come back to you after Ameera. But in the meantime, Mitul, also, could you be able to read some audience's feedback?
Yeah, sure. Helena Norval, fabulous. Mahmoudul Hokari, fabulous. Kashma Patala Desai, wonderful. Then Prajakta Uparkar, very beautiful Ameera Tai. Swapna Tate, amazing Ameera Tai. Pradhanna Bhute, very nice Ameera Tai. Then Chaya Singh Rathur, that's a trance for sure, it's addictive.
Yeah, that's for obviously Rafael. Then along with performance, this is also the talk is very insightful, very insightful. So Ameera, how would you? This is something perhaps I'm asking on behalf of Jasmine. Jasmine just mentioned. How would you connect the idea of feminism? Because you mentioned about Indian woman and an idea of your womanhood, perhaps. Would you, whenever you plan anything, whenever you plan your production, does it make an impact on your production? And how do you connect the idea of feminism?
Certainly, because I think now the whole wave is about not just rethinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think now it's. I mean, the traditional idea of a Indian woman is, she has to be in the kitchen, she has to make food, and she is the one who sacrifices her dreams to take care of the family. That is the traditional idea, and I don't think this is only for Indian women. I think this bias against women is it's all across the world, and I think it's when we say Indian women, it's not really fair. So, but I think these stereotypes are changing a lot today.
I withdrew my whatever I said. Indian woman. Let us
Yeah,
say woman.
it's but
Yeah.
that is what people think about Indian women, but I would like to say that that's true for women everywhere across the world,
Mm,
to tell you the truth.
exactly.
And
Exactly. Very.
I think not, being feminist is nothing but asserting who you are and
Mm,
having the opportunity to know who you are. And it's okay if you choose to raise a family. That's okay, but it should
mm,
be out of choice, not because you
mm,
are forced to sacrifice. And I think it's only about being what you love, doing what you love, and having the opportunity to do that, not being the one who has to sacrifice first. And I think in the modern context, like I live with my husband, so I
mm,
think that he's a person who understands feminism in the true sense, because our house is not a place where I only cook and he earns the
mm,
money or something like that. Shared activity. And I think as
mm,
it's not just about, it shouldn't just be represented in your art, but it has to represent in your
mm,
way of life. So there has to be
mm,
equality in all senses. If I expect him to respect my time when I'm working, at the same time, I must
mm,
add to the family's income, for example. So what I mean to say is,
mm,
whatever family responsibilities there are, you must share. And I think when you start thinking like this, then automatically when you portray your art, the question of equality for women won't come, because as long as it's an issue, then it means that
mm.
there is no equality. When you have to raise the question of equality, it means there isn't equality. And I don't like to think that way. Now, I
So
think it's changed.
is any of your work reflecting the loneliness that is induced by patriarchy, the loneliness that a woman
Not
always
actually.
has to? Yeah.
I have I haven't created a production, but I worked in a production
Mm-hmm.
by my, and it was called Stri Man Ki Anchui Gehraiyan. So it
Mm-hmm.
was about recesses of a woman's mind, and normally the woes, or let's say her untapped dreams. But
Mm-hmm.
there, the traditional mythological characters in Indian mythology are always the ones who have been wronged, are the women who have been wronged. So what we tried to show was that they are not wronged. They are saying that I don't want to be, for example, if you know the story of Ahilya, she was married to a sage, and it was, and she Lord Indra, and she was extremely beautiful. So Lord Indra was mesmerized by her beauty, and he took the form of the sage, and
Mm-hmm.
he sort of made love to her, and then she was cursed to be a stone all her life. So we're trying to reinterpret these stories. So what is being a stone? Being a stone is nothing but having your feelings frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also tried to say that she was lonely, and even if somewhere in her mind she knew that this can't be my husband, she still went for it, and there's no harm in it, because she was a
Mm-hmm.
lonely person. So
Mm-hmm.
these ideas of revolutionizing the mythological characters who have been looked at in a certain way, when they start questioning certain things, I
Mm-hmm.
think it hits the person really hard. Because if I was to portray a woman like me, it wouldn't make such a big difference. But when a mythological character with the baggage of tradition, with the baggage of all the stories that are attached to it,
Mm-hmm.
says something that is scandalous, and in that sense, it really has a
Mm-hmm.
great. So that would be the kind of work that I would want to do, and I am planning to do. So
Many thanks. This is quite interesting actually. So the reason I was asking as well, because we are doing a reproduction of Flaubert's masterpiece, Madame Bovary, an Indian interpretation of Madame Bovary, a production we are planning to do through dance, through poetry, through other meaningful arts, sing it through music. I'm quite interested in how the idea of feminism getting uh, transferred to the artist's work. Many thanks. We'll talk about this perhaps later on, or sort of after this session. But let us have a performance, Ameera. What is in your mind to perform now?
okay, so I have, since this is about ghazal and literature, this entire series has been about literature. I was thinking how literature is developed in stages in Kathak, in classical dance. So
Mhm.
you have the traditional. How does the first basic way literature enters Kathak is through a kavit. It's a poem in meter, basically. So I thought I could show you, maybe not all three immediately, but a flow of how literature develops in Kathak to understand. So this is the, let's say, the direct way, and it's the weight of the words, the rhythm in the words that makes it beautiful. And sometimes it's called a kavit, and sometimes it tells a story, sometimes it is just in praise of a god, sometimes it's just an episode. So I'd like to present a kavit, a small piece, which speaks about a maiden who is going to fill water, and she's accosted by Krishna and his friends, and they demand, sorry, she's not going to collect water, she has a pot full of milk and butter, and they accost her and they say, give us some of it. So and I'll say it once so that people can follow, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't understand Hindi. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. प्रात चली दधि बेचन को घनघोर घटा मटकी सर भारी, ग्वाल अचानक आन मिले मगरों कत ठाड़ रहे बनवारी। वो पूछत है दधि दे दो हमें, नाही कहे सब गोप कुमारी, कर चौपट ग्वालन की मटकी सब ठाड़ रहे उन फोड़ ही डारी, उन फोड़ ही डारी, उन फोड़ ही डारी. So it's just this many verses, but they tell an entire story. So I'd like to show you that bit. Do you think it is okay?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm looking for the track.
Okay.
I found it. Oh, ready. रात चली दधि बेचन को घनघोर घटा मटकी सर भारी, ग्वाल अचानक आन मिले मगरों कट ठाड़ रहे बनवारी। वो पूछत है दधि दे दो हमें, नाही कहे सब गोप कुमारी, कर चौपट ग्वालन की मटकी सब ठाड़ रहे उन फोड़ ही डारी, उन फोड़ ही डारी, उन फोड़ ही डारी. That was it. So that is, a very small introduction to how literature is used in Kathak. Next, I would like to show. Actually, it's a long piece. Do you mind if I show like?
I'll come back to you after Rafael, perhaps, if that's okay. Is this okay? Many thanks, Ameera. Mitul, can we have some audience's feedback before I move on to Rafael?
Yes, sure. Michelle Flabig, lovely. Mitali Kulkarni rightly said about equality. Ameera Tai. Urmila Garg, well said, agree. Taposh Roy, Namaskar. Prajakta Uparkar. Ameera Tai, eager to watch Stree Man Ki Uchi Gahraiya live. So eager to watch it live. That's what.
That's a request. Okay. It's a request from us as well to Ameera. Okay.
Shirotkar, beautiful. Chaya Singh Rathore, oh, that Padhant. You know that it's something we crave and admire all the time. Prajakta Upadkar, wow, Tai. Then Chaya Singh Rathore, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitul. Those who are watching, Taposh Raiji, our regular audiences, many thanks for joining again. So those who are watching, so please do share. Again, I'm repeatedly saying, because this helps us to connect more audiences, and then this performance needs to attract actually audiences from all corners of the globe. And as you all will agree with this. And those who are not familiar with Saudha, you can go to www.saudha.org. This is one of the leading Indian classical and global music promoting platforms here in the UK. It does do many collaborations with different global art forms, music, dance, poetry, and try to develop communication and co-exchanges between different art forms, complementary interpretation of one art form for other one. You'll find many videos in YouTube. So many thanks for watching, and please stay tuned. Let us go back to Rafael. Hello, Rafael. Let us have a bit of performance, and if you kindly tell us a bit more on your collaboration. You seemingly have a great golden journey in collaborating with different art forms and different artists, different renowned artists. If you kindly tell us a bit more, and then we'll have another performance perhaps.
Yeah, well, collaborations is, maybe I should make collaboration my middle name, because I think that's why I'm in music, in fact, is because I like, well, I like sharing my music, but also at the same time I like to enjoy other people's music too. And for me, it's a pleasure. I'm maybe slightly more atypical flamenco guitarist in a sense, because you can be very pure and very concentrated in your art, which is great. But I prefer to. I think maybe because of my life experiences, I've lived in many countries, and so I like to play with musicians from from jazz, from rock, from classical, from anything you can, Indian, in fact, any kind of musician who plays anything or sings or dances, I'm happy to play with, and I think that's where you get the interesting journeys, musical journeys from.
Great, Rafael. Just a audience feedback actually.
Yeah.
One of our friend and a wonderful art promoters here in the north of England, Devashir Bhattacharya, said, would love to see flamenco guitar with Kathak. We can do perhaps collaboration, like you said. You are very flexible.
Oh yeah.
Exploring different art forms. But can we do a bit of, I mean, at the end perhaps, a bit of glimpse perhaps?
Well, do you know?
Ameera can, because she's Kathak dancer.
Yeah.
They can do many things as part of that improvisation.
So I know that I would love to, but of course, the problem we have live is that there's a bit of a lag. So it would have to be something that's not rhythmic, because if it's rhythmic, then we'll all be out of rhythm.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because we'll all look very silly if we're doing different beats at different times. But certainly just a few chords. That's no problem at all. But yeah, in fact, I played. Well, I play. He may be watching now. I don't know. With I don't know if you know a tabla player. Well, many tabla players, but a tabla player called Kuljit Bamra. He's an MD. He's a very close friend of mine and fantastic musician, and I love collaborating with him. And Shahid, I don't know, we did something at the South Bank a long time ago actually, but beautiful singer. So yeah, I'll collaborate with whoever who wants to collaborate with me or me with them. It's one of those things. Is you meet. Like now, who knows, and something happens. So, and that's the beautiful thing, and I think if you open your mind and your ears to other music forms and other music cultures, then of course you learn a hell of a lot too. And I think in my opinion, if you stick to your own culture, even however rich it is, you're cutting off a whole world of knowledge. And even though I am a flamenco guitarist, I am a flamenco guitarist hopefully with my own voice and my own personality, and that's what I want, is to take from each different take from different places and make it my own, and that's my view on my music and my flamenco culture, if you like. Yeah, actually, it's Ameera's fault that I'm going to play this now, because I'm going to do an introduction with much more modern chords, and then I'll come back to the tradition after. But I'll just do a little bit of Soleá. So. that's a kind of mixture of old and new, a little bit improvised to be honest, but it's a kind of mixture of old and new, and just a flavor of Solean and Buleria at the end. So there's that.
Okay, as we've been talking about feminism quite a bit, I'm going to read a poem called I'm a Woman by Parveen Jahanavi. I'm a woman who has not buried love alive in her body. The desert that screams rain on me. My heart is heavy. I'm a woman vanished from the abode of gods. Let the green-tongued ones of unknown love reapproach rabbis and Farah. Women who love the raw passion of love. Women who, with their pains, cannot be confined. Women who do not hide their feelings in the concerns of their scarves or behind their veils or under the carpet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jasmine. And many thanks, Rafael, for this beautiful, trust me, for this beautiful music. A beautiful mixture, beautiful mixture. I will come back to you again, Rafael, and please plan something based on melody, not, like you said, not based on rhythm, so that Ameera can perhaps do some improvised abhinaya acting with this. And that would be a great treat for our audiences in this COVID, in this pandemic event. Instantly improvised collaboration between two wonderful artists. So let us come back to Mitul for some audience's feedback.
Yep, sure. Vipasha Lad, beautiful Thai, wonderful session. Arpita Shirodkar, how graceful Ameera Thai. Thank you for this wonderful session. Vasumati Deshpande, Wah. Anup Luhani, phenomenal performance. Then Chaya Singh Rathore, we would love to see that 5-beat cycle in Kathak and Flamenco. Debashish Bhattacharya, well, let's experiment and see if the time lag is a problem. So they all want to witness this. And then Mitali Kulkarni, so soothing tunes, sir. Vasumati Deshpande, beautiful. Urmila Garg, wow, amazing mixture. Anup Amlohani, supremely beautiful music. Khandokar Mehir Nahar, wow, Shamim Shahan. Today's event is amazing. Greetings to all. Many thanks, everyone.
Many thanks. Shamim Shahan is one of our firm supporter, one of our panel actually, and a poet and the editor of the Granthi. So many thanks for your beautiful input. And then Anup Lohanji is quite a regular audience, and many thanks for this inspiring comment, supremely beautiful music. Thank you, thank you very much who actually shared this live streaming. Let's come back to Eric. Would you like to add anything before I move on to Ameera? You are on mute, Eric.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just there's so many different references that are sort of bouncing back in my mind. That Rafael, the playing's beautiful, and it brings me back to I lived in the south of France, and so at times I've visited Andalusia and Jerez de la Frontera, which is the setting for the Lorca poem Ballad of the Guardia Civil. I've done a translation of which maybe we could work on some other time. I sing when I was down in the south of France, I started singing the songs of the troubadours. So the Arabic influence, which scholars fight about, that goes there just like it does into obviously with the flamenco music, and the link between the gypsies and India. That I mean, there's so many different things sort of firing across. And also, I've just been remembering a wonderful book with Ameera talking about feminism and Jasmine. 40 years ago, and it's hard to say that, but 40 years ago, I read an amazing book about the goddess religions, which relates to the temple poem that I'll be reading later. It was by an American sculptress who had the wonderful name Merlin Stone. For a sculptress to be named Stone and to have the mystic name of Merlin, the poet. And it was a feminist revision of the what had been the way of looking at the goddess religions and the temples and denigrating an awful lot of things and looking at them in a positive light, which was an extraordinary influence on me. So it's funny that we're back here again. So, thank you for all these.
Thank you.
things.
Thank you, Eric. Many, many thanks. Ameera, let us have another performance. And then, like I said, I would like to talk to you in relation to, we are trying to develop an Indian interpretation of Gustave Flaubert's masterpiece, groundbreaking masterpiece, Madame Bovary. I'm not sure that you read it. And then I was just trying to explore through music, dance, and poetry, music. But that's why I was interested in to explore how feminism, the idea of feminism works on yourself. But let us have another performance. What is in your mind to?
So I have two options. One is a traditional with a composition and another piece of poetry, Hindi poetry interspersed.
Great,
And the other
great.
is a poem. If
We can perhaps have both.
okay,
Both, but yeah, both, but
it's about
up
5
to you.
minutes.
Up to you. We will go by.
Okay,
Yeah.
then
Okay, great, great.
Okay, then I'll start with the traditional piece. It's a bit long and early into it.
Okay.
So, and it goes with my progression. So I said, you know, that how the first way how literature is joined to Kathak is through Kavit, which is poetry in meter, and then you have the compositions with words in the Hindustani Sangeet pattern, North Indian music pattern. The beauty in this is that so all traditional compositions that are done in Kathak are about the gods or mythological mostly. All bandishes in Hindustani classical music are necessarily about the gods or maidens or something like that. So this piece is about the famous fight between Krishna and Kali, the 5-headed demon snake. And so, you know, the story is that Krishna was playing ball with his friends and the ball drops into the water and the friends fight over, now, you know, the ball is into the water, now what to do? So Krishna says, don't worry, I will go into the water and I will retrieve the ball for you. So that is the story. So the bandish is this, and there is a beautiful kavit, which is a long kavit, which was written by Guru Rohini Bhate, and we've sort of blended the two. So this is a piece which showcases that. So it's a long piece, so brace yourselves.
That's okay. Great.
Okay, I'll start. Is the audio okay?
Yeah, great. Audio is not playing. Ameera, hello, Ameera. Ameera, audio is not playing, sorry. Audio is not on. So if you kindly get the audio on, yeah. We can't hear.
You can't hear me. Okay.
Yeah, if you, and then if you start your, exactly, right.
जमुना के तट पर बाट तकत गोपी ग्वाल कर हाय 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 कालिया
वनमाल गले सिर बोर खापट की अम्बर अति सोहे लेके सब सखा चल कपट खत में रुमन भाए
कालिया पे ठाड़े आवे मोहन कालिया पे ठाड़े आवे मोहन जमुना के तट पर बाट तकत जमुना के तट पर बाट तकत गोपी ग्वाल कर हाय 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 कालिया
तीर किशोर मचा बड़ भारी आकुल ब्रज व्याकुल नर नारी धाय नंद धाये महातारी रोए पुकार राधा सखी प्यारी
कालिया पे कालिया पे कालिया बेटा कालिया बेटा
छांस शीतल कदमन के अरुमंद सुगंध पुरवाई उत धेनु चरावत ग्वाल बाल इत स्वाद लेत सब दही मही वीर कृष्ण कहत चलो खेले खेल ये गेंद हाथ लो रचो में तुम हुत ठाड़ो तुम पास इधर तुम लोग दूर इत नंद को छय खेल मजे का लागे लगन सब ग्वाल बाल भय मस्त मगन ऐसे में उछला गेंद गगन और चकित रहे सब तख्त नयन सन नन गेंद गिरा जो लोल गगन छत से निकला यमुना जल थिर पल हो चंचल और नाग बधु को गेंद मिला सर 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 चढ़ नंद कुंवर खड़े कदमन के एक डारी पर बड़े कूद के मानो तीर चला जब काल ये कुल से तल उछला
गेंद गई जमुना में गेंद गई जमुना में झपटो कनाई बनिया में झपटो कनाई बनिया में कालिया मदन करे कालिया पे ठाड़े आवे मोहन कालिया पे ठाड़े आवे मोहन कालिया पे
thei ta ta de ta ta de ta de ta de ta ta na 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 pa da pa na pa धर मुरली अदर ले गेंद हाथ ना छत नटवर नाग वधू कर जोर खड़ी और नतमस्तक का ये विषधर देव सृष्टि से पुष्प वृष्टि कर चकित दृष्टि सब ज्ञान मुनि विवख विहग दंग ध्रुव लोलुक गगन पुरित जय घोष ध्वनि जय जय गिरिधारी जय कृष्ण मुरारी जय काली तारी
कालिया पे ठाड़े कालिया पे ठाड़े आवे मोह
Thank you. So this was the extremely traditional composition in Kathak, which showcased the story. And essentially, Kathak was said, "Katha kahe, so Kathak kehlaye," a storyteller. Kathak first was a storyteller. So this is a composition which is very intrinsic to Kathak. I mean, now the boundaries and the image of Kathak has changed and developed and bloomed into something way more greater. But this was the, let's say, the seed, sort of. Thank you.
Reading from Rumi, this is love, to fly toward a secret sky, to cause 100 veils to fall each moment. First, to let go of life, in the end, to take a step without feet, to regard this world as invisible, and to disregard what appears to be the self. But, I said, what a gift it has been to enter this circle of lovers, to see beyond seeing itself, to reach and feel within the breast.
Many, many, many thanks, Metul, and many thanks, Ameera, for this really hypnotic performance. Really hypnotic. The music, that's how the music gets interpreted, the power of words gets interpreted through movement, through vows, through abhinayas. Thank you, Ameera. Thank you for this beautiful performance. We'll come back to you again, and because we need to see the collaboration with Rafael. So the next one will be the collaboration between you and Rafael. But Jasmine, if you kindly read some audience's feedback, if that's okay.
Sure. So Arpita Shirodkar, amazing. Tanvi Esrana, beautiful. Seema Kulkarni said this session is getting interesting every single moment, loving it. Urmila Garg, all of you are amazing. We have Mano Manjari is watching.
Mano Manjari, a beautiful sitarist, as you can remember, Jasmine.
Yes.
She was featured as part of the series. Italy-based, Sri Lankan, wonderful violinist, actually. Violinist,
Yes.
a prime disciple of and Rajamji. Many thanks, Manoji, for watching.
Jagir Alam says hello all.
Jagir Alamji is
Anashmita
another regular audience of us. Many thanks, Jagir Alamji. Hello back to you. Many thanks for joining.
Ashmita Shaha, Kaliadaman, and she's pointing someone to watch it. Shwarna Kwantiaji is watching. And Davinder Singh Lamba, greetings to all. Syed Anam and Sanjay, they are also watching with us.
Many, many thanks, Davinder ji. Many thanks for watching. Hello back to you. Namaskar to you. One of our regular audience, a great admirer of music, art. Many thanks for watching. Sidanam is a wonderful friend of us, a mentor, actually. That's how I count him. Many thanks for watching. Sanjay Day is another panelist, regular panelist, a phenomenal Tagore singer here in the UK. Sharna Kuntiaj is watching. Many thanks. Sharna Kuntiaj is one of the finest violinists in India at this moment. So many thanks, Sharnaji, for watching. Let us move on to Rafael now, and Rafael, and let us make it in gallery view so that we can see this. This won't be the great presentation actually. This is a photo of gallery. If you go to gallery, you have to see us all actually, but you need to perhaps focus on Ameera's Obinay. Rafael, well, this is a purely improvised.
Very.
Even Rafael didn't know 30 minutes ago, half an hour ago, what is going to happen.
Neither did
Ameera
Ameera.
Ameera didn't know too. But let us see how that's how the collaboration actually, the great ideas developed instantly at the, so let us see how it's getting shaped. Rafael will play and Ameera will give a visual interpretation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for landing us both in this. But actually, it's actually good. It's good fun, and that's, as you say, how things happen. I'll because in case people didn't hear before, it's very difficult to work as musicians and dancers and singers online because there's a lag. So what I'm going to do is, Ameera, if that's okay with you, is I'm just going to play some chords and little bits of melody, quite loose, and just, I don't know, a minute or whatever it is, and. I don't know what you can do. Just whatever comes to you from the music. But good luck. I wish you luck. Here we go. Oh, by the way, actually, for the guitarists, if there are any guitarists, I've tuned the sixth string from E to D, and the third string G to an F sharp. So it's a completely different tuning. So it sounds very open like this. So here we go. Just some open, nice chords. Beautiful, Ameera.
Well,
Thank you, Ameera.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. Rafael, could you tell us this is your concluding note actually, before you move on to Ameera and Eric's performance. If you kindly tell us about your future dream with your music, future projects that you would like to engage yourself in.
That's interesting because I always have lots of ideas in my head, and I actually I've met a musician here where I live. I'm living in France now, but so we're kind of just exchanging, collaborating, as you said at the beginning, and he's into electronic music, and of course I am into electronic too, but so we might be starting a little project and trying some things there, but really, I mean, I'm open to all sorts of collaborations, but I love the idea of mixing kind of any sounds that are very different, and also because where I am, another project that I'm involved in at the moment is where I am in France is Celtic land, so and it has a very strong musical culture. So I'm looking and trying to find and trying to see if it happens in a natural way to meet musicians here to combine perhaps very strange flamenco with Celtic music, but actually there is something from, as I said before, with the mining chant of Spain, and in fact some of the mining chants of Celtic countries like Wales and other places where there is a link, actually a very small kind of faint link perhaps, but there is a link whereby we can discover musical cultures, and hopefully that's the direction I'm going in at the moment, and see where we end up. But apart from my usual, flamenco as well, of course. But that's the idea for me.
Many thanks, Rafael, for your beautiful input and contribution to this session.
My pleasure.
Let us finish with perhaps 1 or 2 minutes performance, if that's okay, just to make sure that we're finishing on with the sound. Let us not finish with the talk. Let us finish with the sound.
Yeah. Well, I've just
many thanks from Saudha, many thanks from all the panel members.
I have to retune my guitar. Because it was completely different. I wasn't expecting that again. So hang on a second.
But to be honest, Rafael, we'd like to, we are looking forward to have you as part of Saudha's programming, Saudha's experimental collaboration here in London, here in the UK, because you are based in Oxford. You were living in Oxford for many years.
Yeah, I was. I just moved recently to France. So, but I'm always in the UK, apart from when the whole problem with coronavirus. But otherwise, I'm always in the UK as well. So.
Okay.
So you want me to play just 30 seconds of something? I think what we start and what we end of traditionally in flamenco is bulería, as I said before, and it's just rhythm and party and fun, and it's kind of lively, and everyone at 5 o'clock in the morning has had enough to drink and they go home dancing in rhythm. So that's the kind of idea. Yeah. It's as abrupt as that. Take care. Thank you very much.
Like the Morning Breeze by Hafiz, translated by Thomas Crow. Like the morning breeze, if you bring to the morning good deeds, the rose of our desire will open and bloom. Go forward and make advances down this road of love. In forward motion, the pain is great. To beg at the door of winehouse is wonderful alchemy. If you practice this, soon you will be converting dust into gold. O heart, if you only once experience the light of purity, like a laughing candle, you can abandon the life you live in your head. But if you're still yearning for cheap wine and a beautiful face. Don't go out looking for an enlightened job. Hafiz, if you are listening to this good advice, the road of love and its enrichment are right around the curve. Thank you.
Many, many thanks, Jasmine, and many, many thanks, Rafael. Many, many thanks. Look forward to meeting you as part of Saudha's programming here in England. See you soon again, Rafael. Many thanks for your time again. Thank you.
May I just say something to Rafael?
Yeah.
Some of the other connections that I thought of, Coblas. Coblas that you were talking about in flamenco is also a term that the troubadours used for types of verse, and obviously coming from the same place. Also, ghazal. Federico Garcia Lorca wrote, I think he wrote any number of ghazals, but also I think in the Divan del Tamarit that he wrote in the ghazal form, which is Arabic, and it's so
Persian,
all the crossings are
Persian,
wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Rafael, again. See you soon again. Thank you. Mitul, if you kindly read some audience's feedback, if you don't mind, and then we'll go for the concluding. Yeah.
Chandra Day, magnificent. Khondokar Mehirun Nahar, Oshadhan Darun, khub bhalo laglo. Splendid collaboration, said Jagir Alam. Debashish Bhattacharya, history has been created. Well done to you too.
Exactly. Many thanks, Devashish Bhattacharya, for this beautiful, inspiring comment. That is true. History has been made. Such an instant and such an improvised performance. Great.
He has also added, made my day. This is the power of the arts. Urmila Garg, wow, that was amazing. Shomana Dashgupta, wonderful concept. And then Urmila Garg has also added, standing ovation.
Exactly. So two of my friends who are phenomenal poets from Kolkata watching, Shomana Dashgupta and then Bonani Chakraborty. So many thanks to them. And any more comments to add?
Just a couple. Chaya Singh Rathore, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Ameera Di for you, and excellent Rafael.
Great.
Quite amazing, Rafael. Think about the Santur at some stage.
True, we will try. Anashmita Shaha, another Kathak dancer, a phenomenal Kathak dancer based in London. She works not for Saudha, but Radharamon Society before. Many thanks, Anashmita, for watching. And then she wrote amazing Rafael and a great show. Many thanks for your beautiful input. So Ameera, we would like to go for the poetry and dance amalgamation, I should say production actually. But would you like to keep the request from audiences before we move on to that? Someone just requested for something or anything just before. So if you kindly perform something just to respond to the request, someone just asking, Mitul, can you remember someone just asking for something? So if you kindly do a brief presentation of something that was requested, or anything else, perhaps, if you would like to present just before the concluding.
Short one.
Yeah.
Okay.
A good thing with you, Ameera, you're very flexible and very keen to develop. Keen to develop the new ideas and work with new ideas. So
yeah,
you're not.
I think that it's the fear of failure that stops people from trying new things. And since we all know that this is a trial, what's the fear? So it's okay if you go wrong. It's okay. Okay if you fall down. You can always get up and set things right. So that's what I believe in, probably.
Exactly.
Okay, so
fantastic.
I would have liked to do the German poem, but I think it's 3 minutes, and I don't think
Yeah,
we have.
that's fine. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Great. Thank you.
So it's a little dark.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're all ready to get a little steam, but I think all emotions are important. So this is the poem by Goethe. I don't know if I'm saying the name right. Goethe, the famous German poet.
Goethe, the German poet and philosopher. Wow, great. Fantastic.
So I think it's a very well-known poem. It's called The Earl King.
Exactly.
And, yes, Der Erlkönig. So, and I think so for those who don't know the poem, it's basically about a father and a son who are traveling through the woods, through the forest, and the child keeps hearing the Earl King, that is the of the dead, calling out to him that, come with me. And the Earl King is, trying to attract him, saying, come with me to my land. And there are beautiful flowers there. Come with me to my land, and my daughters will, feed you and pamper you, and they'll sing for you and dance for you. And the child is trying to tell his father, listen, he's calling out to me. I don't want to go. And the father does not believe the child. And the father keeps on saying, no, it's the rustle of the winds. No, it's the leaves. No, it's just, mist that you're seeing. So the father does not believe. And I think it speaks about universal wisdom in a way, or, sense or instinct that is common to all cultures across. And hence this is, so the Earl King, and normally it's done by 2 dancers or 3 dancers, but
How
I'm going to try
beautiful
to
is
do it
this,
alone.
Ameera? Goethe's poetry getting interpreted through Kathak dance. It's such a beautiful experience. Trust me or not. Wow.
I'm going to try to do it alone. It's normally a duet, or a trio but no, it's duet, but presenting and trying. Excuse me if I, I don't know, if I don't do a good job.
Der Erlkönig. Wer reitet so spät durch Nacht und Wind? Es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. Er hat den Knaben wohl in den Arm. Er fasst ihn sicher. Er hält ihn warm. Wer reitet so spät durch Nacht und Wind? Es ist der Vater mit seinem Kind. Er hat den Knaben wohl in den Arm. Er fasst ihn sicher. Er hält ihn warm. Mein Sohn, was bürgst du so bang dein Gesicht? Siehst, Vater, du den Erlkönig nicht? Den Erlenkönig mit Kron und Schweif? Mein Sohn, es ist ein Nebelstreif. Du liebes Kind, komm, geh mit mir. Gar schöne Spiele spiel ich mit dir. Manch bunte Blumen sind an dem Strand. Meine Mutter hat manch gülden Gewand. Mein Vater, und hörst du nicht, was Erlkönig mir leise verspricht? Sei ruhig, bleibe ruhig, mein Kind. In Dünenblättern säuselt der Wind. Willst, feiner Knabe, du mit mir gehen? Meine Töchter sollen dich warten schon. Meine Töchter fühlen den nächtlichen Rhein und wiegen und tanzen und singen dich ein. Vater, mein Vater, und siehst du nicht dort? Erlkönigs Töchter am düsteren Ort. Mein Sohn, ich sehe es genau. Es scheinen die alten Weiden so grau. Ich lieb dich. Mich reizt deine schöne Gestalt. Und bist du nicht willig, so brauche ich Gewalt. Mein Vater, jetzt fasst er mich an. Erlkönig hat mir ein Leids getan. Dem Vater grauset's, er reitet geschwind. Er hält in den Armen das ächzende Kind. Er reicht den Hof mit Mühe und Not. In seinen Armen das Kind war tot. Yeah.
Absolutely mesmerizing, Ameera. Absolutely mesmerizing. Where did the idea come from? Where did you, I mean, sorry?
The piece was, the poems were commissioned to Nadru to be performed for
Right.
festival. So we didn't think of it, it was given to us, kind of. But it's
How beautiful is it? The best of German treasure, literary treasure, Goethe, has been visually interpreted by one of the prominent Kathak dancer at this moment in Ameera. How beautiful is this, Ameera? How beautiful.
I learned it from my seniors, and my Guruji had conceived the piece, and it was, two people. But here I thought that when I do it alone, it's a different challenge to show three different characters, and the space actually it's small here, but you can demarcate the space, and that's how you establish the three characters. But I don't know, I enjoyed doing it. I mean,
fantastic. Great. Let us have the concluding note. Unfortunately, with this Zoom, while he was talking, I was trying to see whether I could, because I'm the host, I was trying to get myself off and see whether you and Ameera, Eric and Ameera is on the screen, but I think I can't. So I have to be somehow still on the screen. But in the meantime, if we have the concluding note from Jasmine, if that's okay, and then we will go from the screen, leaving Eric and Ameera and perhaps myself. I'll try if I can delete myself too. Jasmine.
Ameera, that was absolutely magical, powerful, and just full of, all your performances were so graceful. And thank God you pursued your dream. You pursued your desire to be a dancer, because I think we would have, this is such an exceptional performances, and we've witnessed an exceptional session this evening. Big thanks to Rafael also. I think I was traveling to Spain somewhere, and I could vision. I had the dancers and everything in front of me. So, and that collaboration between the two of you was just amazing. Instantly within minutes, So it's
And especially what she
entertaining.
did in the end. Goethe is beautiful poetry, and how beautifully she visualized,
Yeah.
how, offered a visual interpretation. Beautiful.
And I think what this highlights for me is, during this pandemic, as well as the tragic death and numbers of people we see being affected by this virus, we've also seen some of the kind of ills within our world, if you like, where we've heard about how cases of domestic abuse has shot up, of violence against women is shooting up, but also how if you are at the bottom end of the socioeconomic ladder, you are far more likely to die from this virus. You're far more likely to have this, there'll be a sustainable impact on your health, your socioeconomic status for a far more longer period. But what this kind of session and this kind of platform highlights for me is we can bring out, when we can collaborate, amalgamate these kind of powerful partnerships between human beings who believe in a progressive, a peaceful world, we can certainly, and this is how, Hours of Darkness has also led to dawn in the past. And I'm sure this is the kind of message that, through Saudha's series of live concerts we would like to give out there. Thank you to everyone who joined us for this unique session.
Thank you, Jasmine. Mitul, if you kindly read some audience's feedback and add your concluding note.
Anup Lohani, extremely fabulous session. Thank you so much. Debashish Bhattacharya, great show, TM Ahmed Kaisar and team. Anishmita Shaha, thank you, TM Ahmed Kaisar Dada. Then Debashish Bhattacharya has also added, this is the perfect platform to try new stuff. Prabha Devi enjoyed both the performances, very informative and educational, from Cape Town, South Africa.
Wow, great. Look at this. Many, many thanks, Prabhaji, for watching, and many thanks for your inspiring feedback.
And then Orpita Shirodkar, speechless. Wow, you are truly an inspiration. Enjoyed the whole session, lovely, loved every bit of it. Snigdha Mishra.
Thank you. And if you kindly add your concluding note.
Yeah, what I wanted to say that this is the power of art and literature. Great things can happen if artistic minds collaborate, and today we have seen the best example of it, and yet more to come from Ameera and Eric as the last performance. Ameera, amazed by your insightful talk and your performance, fallen in love with your personality and your performances. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So two of our friends, Ujjwal Chakraborty, watching from Bangladesh. He's a very powerful fiction writer. Many thanks, Ujjwal, for watching. And one of another friend, Onudeb, also watching and left beautiful comment from London. Many, many thanks. So let us see, Jasmine, perhaps you can leave now, and then we'll focus on the next performance. Many, many thanks. Let's see. So the next session is the poetry in dance, or dance in poetry. And we chose two ancient poets. One is believed as the most ancient poets of the world, Anna Haduna. And then another one is one of my favorite philosopher for many things that he, unfortunately, he was classed as, what's that called? A misogynist for some reasons, I don't know, but his works is so phenomenal. He founded the base of Greek philosophy, and he's a wonderful poet too, Euripides. So 2 points will be recited by our friend Eric Shilanda, and then Ameera, as usually, will interpret through her phenomenal visual style.
I'm sorry if I get it wrong or something, but I'm going to try.
I have to tell that I just sent it. This is also an improvised performance, you can say, because just 4 or 5 hours ago, Ameera received this. Eric, perhaps, almost the same time. So this is again an improvised performance.
Yeah.
So Eric, what are you starting with? Anhaduna or?
Maybe I will. And if you don't mind, I might do a very short poem of Lorca's afterwards if we have.
Okay, great. That would be fantastic. Great.
And Ameera,
Great.
you'll have no problem with it. But
Fantastic.
first, I want to say what an extraordinary coincidence. Is the sound level all right?
Yes, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have sung Schubert's setting of Der Erlkönig many times. It's a terrifying. Do you know the song?
No, not Schubert's, no.
Well, I must get your email and I'll send you a link to something. And it's after years of working with it, I think there may be even something darker. There is something where, and as a singer, you have to do 4 voices. You have to do the narrator, the father, and the child, and then the Erlkönig, who is he's, I think, seductive. And then there is the last line that he says to the child, Ich liebe dich, mich reizt deine schöne Gestalt, und bist du nicht willig, so brauch ich Gewalt. So it's saying, I love your beautiful face, and if you're not willing, I'll use force. And I wonder if the whole thing somewhere is a metaphor for child abuse and the parent not believing.
Wow. That's...
I'd known the song for years before one day it just hit me. The whole thing. What is the terror that children tell their parents, and their parents say, oh, no, it couldn't be, So, but this next poem is pretty dark anyway. It's a lament to the spirit of war. And it's back from, as Kaisha said, the earliest literature, along with the poems of the rebirth of Inanna, the goddess, and at the same time there were songs of Gilgamesh. So lament to the spirit of war, and sadly this area has been ravaged by war, Mesopotamia, Iraq and Iran.
True.
For quite some time. So, do you want to position yourself back and I'll start?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay. Lament to the Spirit of War by Anha Duana. You cut down everything you see, God of war. Rising on fearsome wings, you rush to destroy our land, raging like thunderstorms, howling like hurricanes, screaming like tempests, thundering, raging, ranting, drumming, whiplashing whirlwinds. Men falter at your approaching footsteps. Tortured dirges scream on your lyre of despair. Like a fiery salamander, you poison the land, growling over the earth like thunder, vegetation collapsing before you, blood gushing down the mountainsides. Spirit of hatred, greed, and vengeance, dominatrix of heaven and earth. Your ferocious fire consumes our land. Whipping your stallion with furious commands, you impose our fates. You triumph over all human rights and prayers. Who can explain your tirade? Why you carry on so? Thank you, Ameera, so much.
Incredible, incredible. Before we move on to the next poem, and
Yeah.
next poem is by Euripides, and we'll end up with, as Eric said, Lorca's beautiful verses. It is more than actually amazing. We say amazing, but this is so beautifully gone. After Lota, another great admirer of Indian classical music, said, "Good work. Many thanks, After Lotaji, for watching." Taposh Raiji, amazing, so profound, remote, synchronized art, music, and literature confluence visible to the global citizens. Great experiment, electrifying performance. Exactly it is. Exactly it is, electrifying performance. Jagir Alamji, amazing collaboration, I admit. I haven't seen anything like in the past. Splendid recitation and intoxicating performance by Ameera. Many, many thanks for this beautiful, inspiring comments. Many thanks who were leaving these comments, inspiring, supporting, Saudha's vision, international vision to preach Indian subcontinental art, and along with global art, all across the world. Many, many thanks. And then let's go for Euripides' poem. Only because we have to go back to mythology, we have to go back to ancient poets, just to interpret our time more meaningfully. And this point, these verses, this power of the verse, you will see how exactly it is also interpreting the present time, the modern time too. So let us have the next poem by a philosopher and a poet, Euripides.
And playwright.
Playwright too, yes, mainly playwright actually.
Mainly playwright, yes.
Mainly playwright. I should have said it
You've
before.
got two actors.
Exactly.
But before I just get onto that, I'll refer back to something that Rafael said about taking from different cultures. And then he said, oh, maybe not. And he said, yes, taking. And two quotes from the American folk singer Woody Guthrie, and a great songwriter. And I think somebody was asking him, I think it was about Bob Dylan, do you mind that he stole from you? And Woody Guthrie said, he just stole from me, but I steal from everybody. And there was a group that he was in with Pete Seeger as well, called the Almanac Singers, that Woody, and this pertains to this performance, he said it's the only group that he knows that rehearses on stage. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And I hope to meet you, Ameera, sometime, that you can come here, or that Keisha can.
Exactly. No, Ameera, you became the part of Saudha's activities.
And I would love to take photographs
Love
of
to see you. Love to see you
both
here.
Portraits and dance photos. Anyway, here's the Euripides. Ameera, would you like to position yourself?
I'm going to do the sitting.
Are you? Okay, fine. Okay. You ready? Thank you. Adi. The sun's light to our eyes is clear, and fair the tranquil reaches of the sea. and flowery earth in May, and bounding waters. And so right many fair things I might praise. Yet nothing is so radiant and so fair as for souls childless, with desire sore smitten, to see the light of babes about the house.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one,
The last
a
one.
great Spanish poet, playwright as well,
Yes.
Lorca. Lorca's Hunting Verse. And let's see how Ameera is interpreting it.
I don't know.
Absolutely improvised. Ameera won't know a single word until Eric will
Till I
utter
say
it.
it. Yeah. But there is a time lag, so you have 3 milliseconds to choose.
Oh, you to decide, exactly.
So
Exactly.
no
So,
problem.
Ready.
Okay. Deseo. Only your warm heart and nothing more. My paradise, a field. No nightingales, nor lyres, just a discreet stream and a little fountain. Without the spur of the wind upon the greenery, nor the star that wants to be a leaf, a great light that would be like a firefly of otherness in a field of averted glances. A limpid rest, and there our kisses sounding flecks of an echo, would open up far, far away. And your warm heart and nothing else. Thank you.
what a beautiful end. Ameera, hats off to you for your time and your beautiful artistic journey, artistic vision. I'm sure our audiences will remember these moments for a long time. Many thanks, Ameera, and look forward, like I said, look forward to meeting you here in London, here in England. Please keep in touch. We will. I mean, you became the part of extended family of Saudha. So many thanks again. And as part of the series, tomorrow we will try to feature one of the as part of, Granti's series, actually. Granti, one of the leading South Asian literary platforms, as you know, that will feature one of the great interpreter of Indian cinema in the world, Buddhadev Dasgupta. And that should, if everything goes well, that should be on at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And then day after tomorrow, on Wednesday, we will again bring the beauty of world art forms, world music. A wonderful accordionist, singer, songwriter, composer Garens Lewis will be featured, and also a Japanese Kathak dancer now Sutsumi will join as part of Wednesday's session. We look forward to witness again the breathtaking experience of presentation of two different art forms from two different culture. So many thanks those who have joined. Please stay tuned and look forward to meeting you all. Many thanks. Ameera, would like to add something?
Yes.
And then?
Thank you so much for having me here. It was a great experience. I got to meet such wonderful artists, all of you, wonderful people, and really feel free about my art. And I think you rarely get to feel that. I mean, not always. You are doing rehearsed pieces and you're performing, but this is a different kind of happiness. And thank you so much for letting me experience it and calling me here. And I hope, I become a veritable part of your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Many thanks, Eric. My friend, many thanks as usually for your great contribution to Saudha. Great.
To Ameera, it was such a pleasure, and I wish I could have seen you just all on large screen, and I long to see you in person. And as I said, take photographs. And Kaysher, the transformation of you from librarian to magician is wonderful, bringing so many extraordinary and ridiculously imaginative things to light. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and good night to all of you. Thank you.